Good morning or good afternoon. It's morning for me, but just barely. How you doing? I have a few things to try, but I think what we will run into is there's too many different things. So it could be that your faculty mentor says, okay, maybe narrow it down this way, but I keep on finding like 28,000 of different things. So let me show you a few tips, and I will also include everything that I searched for in the email that I sent to you. So I'm going to look at an AI search called Gemini, which is pretty handy for instruments. I will do something that I call Google contextual search, which helps us find instruments that people are kind of advertising is kind of like the best way to go. That might help on the open web. Some of them you have to pay for, though, so maybe it's not the best. Then I'll go to the library catalog because there is potential books on survey, question, instrument design that might help, that might be what you're looking for. And then lastly, I'll show you how to find direct examples from healthcare academic literature and how to find their questionnaires that they've included in their methodology in their academic research. So we'll look in nursing and psychology, which both have a lot of interventions and patient care and things like that. So to start out with, Gemini. Have you ever heard of Gemini? Gemini is a Google product. It's an AI. What it does is it goes out to a whole bunch of different things. You have to log in with your Google account. The policy is constantly changing. And the name changed too. It used to be called Bard. I've already logged in. And I think, I don't think there's privacy settings for it. It's kind of like, it's in beta mode, so they're gathering all the information. So for what it's worth. What this is like, instead of asking to search for a specific thing on a website, it's searching through all of the websites and trying to like push forward a consensus. So if you ask like, what's the best Mexican restaurant in Salt Lake City, it's probably going to glean Yelp and Google reviews and a whole bunch of different things. So it's not necessarily authoritative, but it's good at kind of giving you kind of different ideas. So I'm going to ask it going out onto the open web, if there's a bunch of standardized surveys, what are examples of patient satisfaction standardized surveys? I call that a word salad. You can throw in a whole bunch of different things. This, out on the open web, so this isn't scholarly, but it points to some scholarly things, it might give you some suggestions of some popular hits. So this one might be like a big one that's tied to the business end of healthcare in the United States. That might give you some places to start with, but it seems like we're looking more at like the holistic and like how people feel, not necessarily how profitable a hospital is. So here's another one, consumer assessment. So be that as it may, you have to decide. So I'm not quite sure the angle that we're coming from. This feels like it's a more like capitalist side of things. But we can also ask it, this might help in whatever stages you're in. You might say, okay, as I'm building my own, what is a standardized survey? And it might give you tips on that. And you could also say, well, what is a standardized survey? And you can edit things. What is a standardized survey in narrative medicine? And every time, it's going to be going out and kind of grabbing stuff in a maybe not always like a great way. Sometimes it might grab things that are bad, but it might help you with your process as you go. Be that as it may, that is kind of gleaning a bunch of different stuff. What if you want to find specific things that have already been published? If we go to Google, I have what I call a contextualized search. A contextualized search is where you put in what you want to find. I want to find a survey, and then you put in satisfaction narrative medicine. This one doesn't have to be in the form of a sentence. So everything before the colon is what you want it to look in the context of, if that makes sense. So if you put recipe, patient satisfaction, you'd get recipes. So some of these are going to be ones where somebody's like selling something. So Qualtrics shows up. They're definitely for profit. But as you scroll down, there might be people who have written articles about specific surveys. That might be a great way to help you find. So if you just click on Scholarly articles, it sends you to Google Scholar. And I will show you a way to do this in the databases too, but there are multiple ways to get there. Here's one specifically on narrative medicine, but maybe it tells us a little less about the survey itself. A lot of it's NIH stuff. So this might help you with guidelines or guidance or help you build your confidence. It seems like with the qualitative, it might be a little easier to, like the standardized part might be just like the delivery and the data gathering and the method for looking through that evidence more than the questions itself. But you'll get confidence as you go. Library catalog is patient satisfaction. So if you, in the catalog, this is going through words only. This does not have a smart search where it's automatically looking for synonyms or related terms. So I have to put in the exact words, and I have to put it in quotes, otherwise those two won't stick together. And I have to add an and. The reason that I wanted to show you this is because there might be, if you go over to, so there's like 40,000 articles. Oh, I'm getting dizzy. But if you go to books, you can see there might be survey design books. Now this one is a smidge out of date, so beware that there's some older stuff in here. So this is just like a gigantic survey from the 80s, but the one thing that I found here is there's motivational interviewing, survey design use and statistical analysis methods. So you can find books that are really great for survey design. I have an issue with Google Chrome right now, and it's not necessarily liking to work with the library catalog. So just so you know, Measuring Consumer Satisfaction and Loyalty is a book from 2008 that looks really great. I can't click on it right now because my Chrome is acting up. But as you go, look through these books, and you can sort by date newest. And you could see, is there like some great survey design books? Looks like that was a good one. So be that as it may. You could also do survey and design. And there's both of those ones that we talked about before. So if you find a book out on the open web, by the way, if you go to Amazon and you find something that's like really great, let me know and I'll buy it. The library is here to help your scholarly pursuits, and so I'm obliged to buy it. So if there's something out there that looks good. Oh, whenever they put the Bible in there, I'm just like, are they trying to sell me something? So beware. Oh, you can see my reading history. I'm on a Star Wars trash novel kick. Okay, moving on. Marriott Library in databases, there's two that I wanted to show you. One is under nursing and one is under psychology. Let's do the nursing one first. The nursing one, if you go under the subject of nursing, it's called CINAHL. If anyone ever says CINAHL, it's an acronym for something. This one is really great. So if you just do, again, in quotes, here all of a sudden you'll see all these other different iterations of it. And I like to put them in quotes. This one has a pseudo smart search. What kind of AI hasn't been implemented in some of these databases yet, or most of them. So I like to put in the quote marks so those words stick together. So is it possible that there's a synonym for patient satisfaction? And then on the and, we can do survey or, and all of a sudden there's all these different things too. If we do a search like this, there's only 61,000 to look in. But if the most important thing is maybe somebody's innovating with a survey or a questionnaire, and this is what they want to advertise, let's try and glean that by narrowing that down to the abstract. So all of a sudden going from full text to just in the most important paragraph, that narrows it down to 42. But what if the survey is a new one and it's in the title of the work itself? How many did we get? Oh, there's 8,000. So this is where you could add another one where you could say narrative medicine, and then all of a sudden there's all these other ones too. Narrative medicine, narrative therapy, blah, 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 blah. What do we get when we narrow down that far? Did it go already? Then there's only 4. Is that too far? Maybe we could have this be in the abstract. So it's kind of like a concertina. Have you ever heard of those? It's like or an accordion. There, 46. So this might be the best way to narrow it down. So you can see that it's got all of these, so it has all this qualitative, it has the instrument, and it has what we're looking for. And you can go through these and you can sort by, they have relevance, but you could sort by like the newest, and you can see what instruments they have. Typically, they're going to have the instrument in the figures or something like that. I think we're beyond the day, although who knows, but it feels like we're beyond the day where the instrument is kind of like, oh yeah, pay us $20 and we'll let you see the instrument. If you run stuck with something like that, let me know. That's really cool. I discover as we go too. I would say this survey might be great in the library catalog as we did, but also in our psychology database, PsycInfo from the APA. You can go to advanced search and just do that same search. But this one's going to be looking at psychology instead of medicine. So let me know how it goes. As you cruise through these, if you run into anything where you can't get that full text, you just click on the View It, and it would send you to the library catalog. It thinks about it, and then it will send you to either a database or you can request the article. But if you can't get the full text of an article, let me know and I can help you sort that out. Let me know how it goes. This is a lot of information.